Hello, welcome to the Black Moment. I am your host, Cornelius Kayode. You call me the Black Shrek. Here, we spotlight amazing individuals as they take us through their journey, lessons, and experiences. Stay tuned, hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss a beat. So it's going to take me to the next thing,
Right.
which is the aspect of law.
Right.
Do you think that even if a law is not just, it should still be obeyed by the citizens?
I like this. Legal is not necessarily lawful. And lawful does not necessarily mean it's legal. Right?
Yeah.
These are two very different terms in law. And not to get too technical, but
Yeah.
legal may not necessarily be lawful.
Yes.
In that what we might think is right may not be just. Right? That's why we have the justice system and not the legal system. So it deals with, like I said, the merits of the circumstance, not necessarily on what you think is right or wrong. Right? Yes. So like I said, like I gave the instances with the killing or taking of a life.
Yeah.
It can be looked in three different instances.
Yeah.
It's the same event where a life had been taken, but they look at the circumstance of that event, and that's what you use in making your judgment. Now, no two cases are the same in that the circumstances surrounding the case may be different, right? But before we digress into the more technical aspects, legal, like I said, may not be lawful. Legal will be based on technicalities, right, rather than substance. Lawful or the law deals with substance, right? But something that is legal may not necessarily have substance, but may be based on technicalities or procedure in the legal aspect. I mean, if you're dealing in law right now, yes, lawful is not necessarily legal in that lawful deals with the substance, but the legal deals with the technicalities or the procedure. That's basically the difference in yes. How does that apply to our space? So like I gave you an instance, if you're dealing with any circumstance, we don't look at it in the terms of morality, but we look at the substance of the issue we are dealing with here, not the technicalities. Unfortunately, our legal system is just that, a legal system. We don't really have a justice system. So you can have a case in court, right? The case in court might be thrown out based on legalities, the technicalities involved in the case, not the substance of the case. So maybe you probably didn't file your motion right, or you went to the wrong court with the case, right? That is what will be looked at. And good lawyers will be able to beat a case based on technicalities rather than the substance of the case.
Yes.
Right. And in a proper justice system, we'll be looking at the substance of the case rather than the technicalities of the case. So for instance, the technical aspects may have been flawed to some extent, but does the case hold any substance which we can interrogate? That is not done in our justice system today. Once the lawyer or your whichever one, if it's the prosecutor or the defense, your defense counsel or attorney, is able to shoot down certain flaws in the technical issues, the case can actually be lost only based on the technical aspects. But the substance of the case will then be lost, right? But in a proper justice system, we deal with the substance of the case and not just the technicalities of the case. Yes. That will be the difference in there. So what is legal may not necessarily be lawful. That is something we have to establish.
So and in the space where you have a scenario where there's a law of the land,
right,
that in a way puts a section of its people in a place of let me say danger, or in a place of like injustice. What's your take on that? Do you because I've heard the saying that an unjust law is no law.
Yeah.
And do you think an unjust law should actually be upheld by a citizen?
No, you regard it with impunity, yes. Any law that is not lawful, that but may be legal because has been passed into law. That's exactly what I was talking about. That's what is legal may not be lawful.
Yeah.
So you can have a law that has been passed into law, but it's not lawful. That's not. It actually goes to oppress people. That cannot be a law, and you can disregard that with impunity.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is one of the things that we have to be bold as a people to deal with, right? We should look at our entire legal system that we have, or our justice system, and look at, for instance, our constitution. One of our main campaign messages has been our constitution, that we need a new constitution. And why so? I don't know if I can go ahead with that.
Go ahead.
Right. So one of our arguments against our constitution, the current 1990 constitution we have, is that it seeks to put certain people above the law. How so? If you go into the transitional provisions of the constitution, the 1992 constitution, there's a part which we call the indemnity clauses, right? This is section 34 and 35 of the constitution, transitional provisions. Now, it says every key player or member of all the coup d'etats that have been done in Ghana cannot be touched by any law court in Ghana. So no court can actually sit to hear any case in relation to anyone who has done any coup d'etat in Ghana. Which means certain people have been placed above the law. Because in this same constitution, it says it's a treason. It's a treasonous charge to do a coup d'etat or even attempt a coup d'etat. And the punishment is death. But in that same constitution, you're saying people who have done it before should be left alone. I mean, don't you say double standards in there, right? And that has been the foundational basis of all the rot and corruption we're seeing in Ghana today. Because the main players who are involved in all the constitution, all the coup d'etats we've had in Ghana are being protected by indemnity clauses. And because no court in Ghana can actually sit to hear any case in relation to those people, even if those people are engaged in corruption charges today, they cannot be dragged to any law court. Yes. Hi. That is the problem, right? So we have pushed that we need a new constitution. And what makes it even worse is that the indemnity clauses have said that not even Parliament has the power to amend these sections I'm talking about.
Wow.
Yes. It has indemnified it to the point that Parliament has been ruled out as having no power to amend these positions. Which means for as long as this constitution remains in effect, certain people have been placed above the law and can continue in perpetuity to enjoy the benefits of their actions for which they've been indemnified. That cannot be seen to be a democratic system. Because one of the major pillars of democracy is to have the rule of law, and that we are all equal before the law. But to clearly state that certain people have been placed above the law and cannot be touched by that same law means we have no law. Right? And I say yes, any law that is unjust and seeks to oppress the people can be disregarded with impunity. That is a maximum of law that doesn't have to be written down in ink, but it's a maximum of law that is agreed on. Yes.
I love how you take it and break it. You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I would want to go back to, should I say, your childhood. What are those things or school of thoughts that you were exposed to as a child? Because in my people say omoti yo ja shamu lati kekere lo ti shemu shamu, and it just goes to say it is what has been embedded in a child that the child brings out, so like, you know, to that blooms into the flower that you see. What are those things, like those values that you feel has been embedded within you as a child that makes Nii Ayi who he is today?
Right. I give credit to my parents for, they gave me, you're always allowed to speak your mind, right? Not to hold back, kind of be shy. Yes.
And that is something that is lost in most, not just Ghanaian home, African homes.
Yes. So let me explain exactly how it worked out in my home. You speak your mind, but you bear the consequences for your actions and the words you speak. So speak, but be wise.
Yeah.
Yes, even from a young age, that's all. So no one will stop you like, hey, don't say this. No. Well, I should speak. But make sure in what you are saying, you don't disrespect or you don't violate.
Yeah.
Because you'll be put right in your spot. But you see, it made us bold to speak our minds. Yes. And you have to be prepared to face the consequences of your actions or your words. That was instilled from a very young age. So my dad gave us freedom. You could speak. I mean, he never sought to put you in a box like a typical African home where they'll say don't speak and all of that. And I think it's called the exposure we had as well.
Yes.
My dad worked with the United Nations all his life. So he retired, yes. He was in the UN all his life. Yeah. So meeting people from diverse backgrounds also shaped how the home was built, yes. But I think those of these things gave me that confidence to always say what was on my mind, to have an opinion, right? Yes. And to understand that you are responsible for the consequences of whatever you do or you say.
You see.
Yes. So it always got me to even think carefully about what I wanted to say before I say them. Because I have to be sure what I'm going to say doesn't get me in trouble. Right? Yes. And yeah, I think that is one of the good things that started me off on this path. Yes. Being outspoken, to be able to hold an opinion and share it. I mean, without fear or favor. That's where it started from. Yeah. I think I come from a background of stubborn people, if you like. Yes. From both mom's side, dad's side. Yes, I have some revolutionary characters in the family, so I think it runs in there as well. But I think the exposure, all of those things went to give you a sense of the kind of atmosphere I grew up in, where I mean, even being able to speak your mind. If it was not a revolutionary atmosphere, that setting couldn't have been created, right? Where they always try to hush you, don't say what you're going to say. I mean, keep quiet, don't speak to an elder when an elder is speaking. But because it was a revolutionary space where people were given the freedom to speak their minds, yes, I grew up in that space, and it helped me develop that spirit of activism. Yes,
that's wonderful.
Yes.
And what does the role of love, in your opinion, what does that aspect of love play?
I wish we could be. Love is such a generic term. It's a broad term that has not been defined properly, right? So conversations about love have to be put in the right context. I'll give you an example. Love for your country is not the same love you have for your kids or your wife. Right? So, or love for your work cannot be equated to the love you have for your family. Or love you have for material possessions cannot be equated to any of these other things. So it seems conversations about love have to be put within a certain context or certain specific.
So let's say love within the family, and the love between your parents, and that's streaming down to the children, you know?
Yes.
What role did that play? Because I come from a family where love seems like it's not even a concept.
Okay.
It's still mind blowing for me how my parents were able to have 4 kids together, because these people are always fighting. I have never seen them like happy together.
Right.
I know how this messed us as the kids in a way. And in one way or the other, it's also has something to do with your level of self-esteem. If you come from a loving family, a different level of self-esteem that you are. But when you come from a family that is loving, that shows you that you matter, you come into the world knowing it at your core that you matter.
Come with confidence.
Yes. So that's true. What and I see you, the way you speak and the way you carry yourself shows it's not a lot of Ghanaians that carry themselves in that way. And I know a ton of Ghanaians. And what is that thing within the home that's station you in this place? Because a couple of books don't just switch you to that particular place.
True.
Yeah, there's something within.
And it's the family setting. So My parents have been together for 34 years. Yes.
Wow.
I won't say all of that was a happy 34 years, because I've seen a good part of those years, yes. But I think one thing that worked for them was, it was an agreement they came to, that they were going to stay together to raise a family.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if you woke up tomorrow morning and you didn't feel like you felt yesterday.
Yeah.
We have an objective to meet, which is to raise a family, right? I think that's one of the things that people are not able to come to terms with. We base love on just emotions, but love can actually go beyond emotions to objectives, to goals. That's what builds commitment. You can't commit to emotions because emotions are fleeting.
Yeah.
You can feel one day tomorrow from what you're feeling today. Yes, it's a fleeting thing. So you cannot base commitment on emotions.
Yeah.
But you can base commitment on goals, objectives. That's what you can commit to.
Yeah.
Right. Once you find that goal objective as a family, you can commit to that, or as a couple. So it's not because you love your wife, no. But you can commit to your wife because you've committed to an objective. So in essence, it's not necessarily your wife you're committing to, you're committing to that objective. But both of you are supposed to work together to achieve that objective. That's what can keep a relationship longer. That's what I've learned from my parents. But I grew up from a stable home. I grew up in a stable home where, and this is the fundamental problem of not just Ghana, but I think as a people, this is something we have. Our current condition is based on what the condition of the home is. The family unit.
Yeah.
The family unit is the foundational block of nations, of empires.
Exactly.
The foundational unit is the family.
Yeah.
So once the family is in shambles, the nation cannot stand. And that has been a problem.
Yeah.
People have not found a reason to stay together, to raise a family outside of emotions. So once emotions go out the window, then there's no union any longer. And then the home is broken. And once the home is broken, you cannot raise the right kind of people who are going to be in the larger picture or the larger setting as a nation. So the fundamental building block, like I said, being the family, if we're going to raise or build a better nation, we have to address it from that fundamental unit, which is the family unit.
Yes.
One of the major problems is kind of the narration of the things going on right now, where we are playing gender wars or the battle of the sexes.
Yeah.
Where men are being put up against women to fight against each other. Men and women are never the same, right? And it's not about who is better or who's superior to the other. No, it is specific roles that nature itself has given us to play. Which is, a woman is supposed to be a natural, right? That's a biological responsibility, to be a natural of life. The man as a biological responsibility is to be a provider and protector. Anytime you find any of these two people crossing over to do the role or take up the responsibility of the other, then we have the problems we're having today. So in this modern day argument of feminism and all that nonsense, right? We find people trying to elevate the woman into responsibilities that are not hers, right? Not to say that a woman cannot do it, but she's not supposed to do it. So anytime you find a woman taking on the responsibility of being provider and protector, it means it's an anomaly. That is not the natural order of things. It's an imbalanced situation that has caused her to step into that role. If you find a man playing the role of natural, and then it means he has been taken out of his natural order as the provider and protector. So there's an imbalance in there, and that's what creates problems, right? Now, how do I mean? Let's bring it into our reality. In the onset of this corporate world we've created, right, we force that the woman has to pick on a career, which is not a bad thing, but we realize this is at the expense of building a stable home. So the woman leaves home, goes to work in the morning, comes back in the evening, because she has to make a living. That is a woman trying to step into the responsibility of being a provider. That is not her role. The woman is supposed to be the nurturer of life, right? So that is why, in the wisdom of our fathers, we kept the woman at home, not because the woman's place is at home, no. But that is the only conducive environment which is safe enough to nurture life. So our father said the woman should nurture life at home, which is the space we have created for her. And then we, being the providers and protectors, will go out to make provision for the home. But we stay in there as well to make sure that it is protected. That's why we create a safe space for the family. That is how it was supposed to be done. But on the onset of this modern world, where careers and all of these things have been proposed and pushed on us, the woman feels like she has to go out there to make ends meet. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But where it comes between your primary biological responsibility as a nature of life to assume the position of being a provider, then there's a disconnect in there. And that's what's created all the problems we have. So we realize when a woman gets into the position of provider, she starts developing a career and all of those, she can't raise a family because she has to go to work. So what you do is you have to hire a nanny to raise the kids. But you see, that nurturing spirit is not there because it's not just about taking care of someone. No, there has to be that emotional bond or connection between the mother and child.
Yeah.
That is not there because she's spending most of her time out in the field working or making a living. And that is creating a problem, right? Now, if you ask any real woman, right, who has a career, the moment they get married and begin to have kids, those women take a break to stay at home. Why? I'm not talking about maternity leave. I'm talking about taking a break to be a stay-at-home woman, mom. These are what real women who remain in their traditional positions or roles as women understand, and this is what they do. So then you realize that the goalpost will be shifted onto the man to be the protector and provider. That's the biological responsibility of a man, right? Yes. But once this is lost, then you cannot raise a proper family, and we'll have all the problems they're talking about that is happening right now. And this is the problems we're having today. Until we can go back to understand this concept, understand that, look, it takes two people to raise a family, but the man would have to make time to be a provider. That's why he has to go out to work and all of those things, yes. But that man has to be present at home as many times as possible to be a protector. That's why when you find a home where the man is providing, yes, but he's never present because he always has to deal with the provision. There's no protection for the family, and that's why the family will not stand. So a man has more to juggle and balance between provider and protector, where you have to be out of the house to provide, but you have to always be present enough to be able to protect. But the woman's primary biological responsibility is to be the nurturer of life. That is why the woman carries the baby and not the man, right? Because she's the only one who can nurture life to that extent. When we understand these traditional roles, which are biological roles, not gender roles, then we can begin to base more focus on raising healthy families, which are the foundational blocks of nations, empires. And then we can begin to fix our nation. But until that connection is not made, we'll continue having the problems we're having. Families will continue to fall apart because people don't understand the biological roles and not the gender roles of man and woman.
I've never looked at it in this way.
Right.
I've always been against this perspective of the man is superior to the woman is superior to the
nonsense,
man. And in most cases, because from my own cultural perspective, we tend to look at things in a more spiritual space.
Right.
And from, let's say, my cultural spirituality, there is a connect that it is believed that the woman has to life force itself.
Right.
And in the spiritual realm, it is believed that the woman, in a unique way, is more intuitively
with the spirit,
connected than the man. And for that reason, even though the man is the physical protector, the woman is the spiritual protector.
Have you thought of why that is so?
As in, I've not thought about it.
That's an interesting thing, yes. You see, the man cannot be as spiritual as the woman is.
Yeah.
Because men are not emotional. they're rational. And you cannot deal with the spiritual with the
Should I
rational
say
mind.
not or less?
So, I mean, comparatively, the man will be more. Doesn't mean women are not rational.
Oh,
I mean, but women are more emotional than men.
Yeah, okay.
Men are more rational than women. That's what I mean. Yes.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you cannot deal with the spiritual from a rational point of view. It's more in tune with your intuitions, your emotions, your feelings. You feel the spiritual. You don't rationalize the spiritual.
Yeah.
That's why it's spiritual. Right? That's why you have women being more spiritual than than men, because, or more in tune with the spiritual. Because women are intuitive. They react from an emotional standpoint. Yes. But the man has to be, and it goes back to the biological rules I spoke about. You cannot be protector if you're not rational or logical. Right?
Yeah.
The moment you get emotional, you cannot defend yourself.
That's true. Yes.
But you have to be emotional to be able to nurture. That is why the women fit into that biological responsibility. You see, and that's how it plays out.
Wow, that's dope.
So for a man to be able to protect,
Yeah.
he has to be able to be calculating. He has to be able to be logical, analyze the situation, and say, no, I can do this to protect myself and my family or defend myself. That's why the man is more in tune to his biological responsibility to be protector and provider, because that is where he's calculating logically, right? But for the woman to nurture life, she has to be emotional, have that emotional connection to the life that she's bringing, nurturing. That is where these things go, and it goes over into the spiritual aspect as well. Yes,
That's deep. That's deep.
right.
So, if you would give an advice to the 12-year-old Nii Ayi,
Yes,
what would you say to him?
keep being stubborn. Yes, keep being stubborn, because I wouldn't say I'm a conformist, right? I always question everything. So if I questioned it and I didn't get a satisfactory response, I would not accept it.
Yeah.
But I would investigate it further. So I would say always stay curious. Yes, don't. And that's what I mean by stubborn.
Yeah.
Sorry, because in a setting, if you're curious, means you're always asking questions. In a cultural setting, that was frowned upon.
Exactly.
It will be seen as you being stubborn or, but I would advise the 12-year-old Nii to remain curious, to not just accept things the way they are, but always question everything. That would be what I tell him. Yes, continue being, you have to be bold to be able to question things, because not accepting things the way they are and questioning things is not something that the ordinary man will be able to do. Yes. So it takes a certain level of bravery, boldness, some courage to be able to do that. I tell the young Nii Ayi, yes. But I advise him to take it easy with him. Take it easy on himself. There's this thing where I strive for perfection. And it's been a big challenge. Where I want everything to be perfect. Sometimes it can hinder you from even starting. Because you want everything to be perfect before
you go ahead.
So I tell the younger Nii Ayi to not be afraid of making mistakes. Yes. You can never learn how to drive in a parked car. Yes. So hit the road.
Yes.
That's how you perfect your skill. Yes. So yes, think about things. Yes. Be critical of everything. Be bold enough to question everything. Be bold enough to take the initiative, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Yes. That would be the advice I'll give to the younger.
Wow. That's it. So, and a level of self-empathy.
Right.
That's
Right.
Yeah. I would love to conclude this way, because this has been just wonderful.
Thank you.
But before we conclude, I would like to ask this last question, which is, who is Nii Ayi uninterrupted? Uninterrupted. Who are you uninterrupted?
Interesting. I'm trying to imagine an instance where Nii Ayi is uninterrupted, so I can describe who he is in that setting. But that will only be when I have time to myself when I'm meditating. That's the only time I get in touch with the real me. And the real me will be someone who likes to be, I enjoy solitude. I enjoy to be in my own company with my own thoughts. Yes. I like to share that with nature, to be in nature. That's where I feel most comfortable, yes. But whatever space I'm in where I get to be by myself and get to listen to my thoughts, that is where I find the real me. And the real me there will be one who is always contemplating ideas, thoughts, right? That's where I get to analyze everything. I like to think of what the real meaning and purpose of life is, right? What all of this means. Why are we here? Why do we have to go through all of these things? These are the thoughts I like to contemplate when I'm by myself, yes. And I think that is going to be the realest I am when I'm by myself. But when I'm with other people, I mean, I respond to stimuli, of course. So I'm a product of my environment, yes. But that will be the interrupted Nii Ayi, right? Yes. But when Nii Ayi is uninterrupted, where I'm not dealing with anything from external sources, I am one who likes to enjoy my own company. I like to be in my thoughts, contemplate all these ideas by myself. Yes, that's when I feel most comfortable. Yes, by myself. Yes,
That's wonderful.
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
This has been a beautiful episode.
Same
with
here.
you.
Enjoy this too. Yes, sir.
You poured it out. You took it to levels I wasn't even thinking of like going at all.
Glad, yes,
I
yes.
love that you freely and willingly shared your ideas, your lessons, your experiences with us.
Sir.
I
Same.
really, really appreciate that. And
Yes,
I
sir.
know that a lot of people would be blessed by just listening
Right,
to this
hopefully.
beautiful piece you just put out there.
Yes, sir.
I'm really grateful.
Thank you very much.
And
Yes, it was good talking
I
to you too.
appreciate
Yes, sir.
it so
Right.
much.
Let's do this again. Yes, sir. Right.
Thank you. Thank you for following us to the end of this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to The Black Woman so you don't miss our next episode. Stay kind, stay epic.